Sweet deal. Well, John, welcome to the studio corner.
Well, thank you for having me.
John Vanslo. Wow, this is pretty wild.
Yeah, I've known you a long time.
It's been 20 years.
Has it been that long?
It's been 20 fucking years.
So the first time your dad brought you in the store, right? That's
Yeah.
when.
I came in. We saw a local music shop. We had just moved to the area, and I needed a guitar teacher. I wanted to learn guitar, and we came in. Aaron from Fat Frog,
Oh
the
my
band.
gosh,
Remember that?
yes,
20 years
yes,
ago, man.
wow.
I had my first 2 guitar lessons ever with her, and then I had a few with her, I think, and then I moved on to I don't remember how I moved on. I think I had a few, and then moved on to another teacher, and then
At the store?
I think at the store, yeah.
Wonder how you got Aaron.
I just walked in, and
That's
we-
who.
That's who you guys
I
put me
had an
with.
opening with.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
she was rad if I remember, but I was also 5.
Yeah.
I was 5 years old.
Yeah, she was a very good player and good
Damn.
teacher.
20 years later, and I'm having you sit down at my my desk in my studio.
Yes.
This is pretty cool.
Awesome studio too.
I'm pretty stoked on this. Well, you helped build this damn place.
Carlos and I, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. You guys came by. I was 16. I was 15 or 16 years old, and you guys came in here with all this equipment and just all this stuff. I had no fucking idea what was going on. No idea. I was like, I guess this is happening.
Yeah.
And then still for years, still have yet to figure out a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
I still call people like, hey, can you show me how to wire my own equipment? I'm the worst guitar player and the best guitar player all at the same time. I don't know anything about what I'm supposed to know about, but I can play the damn
Yeah.
thing. Anyway, now that we're done reminiscing, you are the guitar pimp. That is my nickname for you.
Oh no, I've
You're the
heard that
guitar pimp.
before. Yes.
Yeah, I've heard other people say it. You are the guitar pimp. And anyone in the Ventura County area that lives in this, that's ever bought or had any questions about music in general, they know who John Vanslo is. You're like a legend.
Oh wow.
People talk about you like you're this mystic wizard.
Oh, really?
I call you the guitar pimp because every time I walk in instrumental music, I swear to God, I walk out with something. I was like, I wasn't planning on buying this, but John made it sound like I needed this. I probably need this. There you go.
And has it been good most of the time?
You have not steered me in a wrong direction.
Well, good.
You have answered all my questions. You steered me in the direction that I think I want, and then when I mess up, you're there to save me.
All right. Well, that's good.
You do a spectacular job. So,
Thank you.
what is it about you that allows you to sell guitars and sell equipment the way you do?
You know, I think that's a good question, but I definitely listen to what people have to say. You know, a lot of times, you know, everybody, when you're, you know, I'm a player too, and I think we're always looking for, you know, a better sound or something to take us to the next level or something. Always, right?
Yeah.
It's the never-ending search. So I think you have to, first of all, you have to listen. You know, what is this person trying to achieve with their sound, or what are they trying to do? And then from there, you kind of just, you know, I mean, I've been doing it a long time, so I think I have some good experience and advice to be able to steer people in the right direction that'll help them get what they're looking for.
Well, I've never seen so many, especially musicians. Musicians are really like moody, and we don't trust very easily.
Yeah.
But like every time I see someone talk to you or someone come into the shop, whether they know you or they don't, it's like this immediate trust when they start asking you questions. I've never seen it before.
Really?
It blows my mind. I'm like, it's like John, like everyone just trusts John. Like if the apocalypse happened and like they needed something musically, John probably can fix that, can get it done.
Yeah.
Do you have like a strategy, or is it just kind of happens?
You know, I don't think I have so much of a strategy. I have been doing it a long time. I kind of it's not something that I wanted to do originally, because I started out teaching at the store.
Yeah, I blew my mind. You sent me that 81. You started teaching, right?
Yeah.
And in 2 years, you became the manager.
Right.
The
Yeah.
hell did you do?
Yeah, it was the weirdest thing, because I probably had I was doing some group lessons that had like 15 or 20 people in it.
Oh shit!
And along with teaching about 70 students a week. It was crazy back then. Yeah, it was insane. And
did you sleep?
No, I slept. Yeah, but the thing was, I'd get interrupted. You know, the owner would come by and say, you know, somebody's here to see you about something, a guitar or something. So I was kind of like, I'd be in a lesson, and then as soon as I get out, I'd have a minute to talk with this person, and they'd be asking me about equipment and stuff, and what should I get, or the parents would want to know, what should I get? So that's kind of how I got into the selling thing, you know.
Wow.
And
I imagine there was a manager while you were teaching.
well, Brian was the owner. Brian McCann's the owner of the store.
Okay, so he was managing.
He was running the store, and actually had a partner at the time, and they had opened in '79 in Chatsworth. And then they moved up to Thousand Oaks in '81, and that's when I started teaching. And then about a year after that, his partner decided he wanted to get out. So, and he was noticing that I was getting a lot of people asking me and stuff. And
You were the guy.
And he goes, maybe you could want to work part-time too, teach and work part-time. And I tried it, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed helping people, showing them pedals and keyboards and guitars and all that
Was
stuff.
it just like something that was like came easy for you, or was it something like you did and you're like, wow, I actually really, really, I'm into this. I could do this.
Yeah, it seemed to come easy, and I definitely enjoyed it, So it was something that, I just
Okay,
kind of walked
so
into.
what's easier, dealing with a tough customer or a tough student?
Tough student, how?
So, all right, scenario. Let's see.
Because
A
there's
student, like a student that has no patience,
mm-hmm.
doesn't no patience for like the struggle, maybe learning or whatever
right,
it is.
right.
Gets frustrated really quick and is very vocal about it and doesn't really focus or pay attention to what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Or a customer that comes in is just plain rude and condescending, and once again is not listening to anything you're saying, just waiting for you to give them a deal.
I would have to say, well, it's more frustrating, I think, if it's the student.
Okay.
That's very frustrating.
Yeah. It's just straight up frustrating.
It's very frustrating, and as being a teacher that I did it, and also my teachers that work at the store, I've talked to them about things.
Yeah.
They don't look forward to those students coming in and
Yeah.
taking a lesson.
Yeah.
So the customer usually can be dealt with quickly,
Okay.
fairly quickly, and get the matter resolved,
Yeah.
and then move on. But
You're stuck with the
you're
student.
stuck with the student until you either, don't want to teach them anymore, or they quit.
Wow. I guess I never thought about that. Like, shit, you have an out for the customer.
Yeah, you definitely do. The student, and a lot of times the students there, it's the parents want them to take the lessons,
Yeah.
and they're not really that into it,
Yeah.
But then again, there's nothing, if you have a great student that, is
Yep,
coming
stoked
in
on
and
it.
wants to learn and practices and does all that stuff,
Gets you excited.
that gets you excited, and it's a great feeling because you see them progress and you're helping them to get better,
Yeah.
So that's an awesome feeling.
So do you miss that at all? Being a
Teacher,
yeah.
I do miss it sometimes a little bit, yeah. But I
Yeah.
don't think it's something that I'd want to go back to.
I mean, you're like the kingpin of
Yeah.
music shops now.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. There's 3 instrumental musics now, right?
Yeah, there's one in Santa Barbara was the second, and then Ventura was the third.
I mean, there's 3 shops, and they seem to be doing pretty well. It's not like they're
Yeah, and they all
really-
have their own little marketplace, kind of. It's
It's
Santa Barbara's a
incredible.
college town, and
Well, it's crazy because like Guitar Center is not that far away in either direction. Like
Well,
it's really not.
no, I mean there's one in Agoura, and then there's one right in Ventura.
Now there's one in Westlake, Or that's what you're
Westlake,
talking about,
right?
Agoura,
Yeah, Westlake. I'm sorry. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's amazing because like while Guitar Center has like this huge store and all this equipment, like for me, even the concept of going there to get something without consulting everything you've got in instrumental music
Mm-hmm.
just doesn't make any sense. Like I would never go to Guitar Center for something.
Uh-huh.
And like I run into more people where it's like I understand the personal side of things, like it's a personal experience, you get more care at instrumental music, but you would think these giant corporations would be getting so much more business out here.
Yeah.
But a company like Instrumental Music and the shop that you run, it's just like it's like a little I don't want to say Troy because they got taken out, but like this little fortress that like it's just everyone needs.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It blows my mind.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that has to do with you.
Mm.
I think because I've grown up in there. I've grown up in that shop. I've
Uh-huh.
gotten pretty much everything I own from that shop.
Yeah.
You've sold me most of those things, and I've watched a lot of different employees come in and out of there.
Uh-huh.
And I don't think there's ever been a time I've walked into instrumental music and one of the employees wasn't able to get me what I wanted, help me on another level,
Uh-huh.
or have someone on staff that could take me could teach me something new.
Uh-huh.
And I've heard from friends that I've made that have worked for you over the years. They talk about how much of a hard ass you are, how much like you're like this manager that nothing slips by you. You don't fuck around. And I'm like, really? Quiet John? And I'm like, I can totally see him being like total mafia, running the store and just super fine outside of it. Is that true? Do you run a tight shift?
Well, I mean, yeah.
Okay.
I think there's always room for improvement on a lot of things and stuff. But
Well, you definitely don't hire morons.
no.
You have a great staff.
Yeah, and some of those people have been there a long time.
Yeah. I mean, John Locks is how you say last name?
Yeah.
I mean, he was one of my favorites. I mean, I used to come in just to talk to him, just to hear him rant about something because he was so, knowledgeable about everything.
Yeah, and John had a lot of experience because he toured too.
Yeah.
With
Warbringer, right?
a pretty big metal band there for a while.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to have him on in August, I think.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I want to dive into that shit.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Another soft-spoken John that's probably super ruthless. But, all right, so customers. What's the worst customer you've ever had in that shop? Do you have one?
Ooh. Ah, boy.
I've always wanted to ask you these questions, by the way. You're in my trap. I've always wanted to ask you these questions.
The worst customer. That's a tough question. I can tell you one of the weirdest or bizarre customers.
Okay, I'm into it.
And this was back probably in the mid '80s.
Mid '80s.
Yeah, and this was
It's
when
a bizarre time.
Yeah, and this was when like Marshall Stacks and all that was real popular, and big amps.
Still popular for me.
Still popular, but not as not like it was back then. And this customer came in, and the owner was actually talking to him, and I was kind of listening, and it was a bizarre conversation. And finally, he came over to me and goes, I can't help this guy. You need to help him. And I'm going, why? And he said, well, he was looking at this Marshall head, and I asked him what he was going to use it for, and he said he was going to use it for mathematical equations.
I don't get it.
Yeah. So it was just, this customer was something was not right upstairs,
He was going to use the Marshall head
yeah.
for mathematical equations. And he
yeah.
just left it at that. He didn't give you any details.
Didn't have any details.
Like he's going to measure sound waves.
Yeah.
He just said.
Yeah, and just kind of looked at us.
Did you offer him a notepad? Like
yeah. No.
They have things for that.
But that was definitely a bizarre.
Did he buy?
No, he didn't buy.
Okay.
No.
There's no way.
No. But to get back to that question, the most difficult, is that what you were asking?
Difficult, just terrible, mean, nasty. I mean, we got a weird one.
Yeah, I've been pretty lucky. You really don't get, at least from my, all the years I've been doing it, I haven't really had any like real difficult people or mean people. I mean, every once in a while you'll get somebody that's drunk in the store,
Really?
And that can be kind of.
You ever had anybody break anything in there?
No, I had a guy. He went to sit on a stool and he missed it and he fell on the floor.
Oh man!
And he couldn't get up. He was so drunk.
Oh shit!
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Damn. You have to kick them out though, right?
Yeah, well, you got to say you can't. You got to leave.
Yeah. Anyone ever I'm not leaving or whatever?
No, I haven't had that.
Wow.
No,
own a shop and that. I mean, I guess it's TO too, so it's not that like bad, but still.
Yeah.
To own a shop that long or run a shop that long and never have to do that. So that's impressive. That should say everything about your track record. Like John Menzel, the perfect salesman, the perfect owner, manager, whatever it is.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
Same guy still own all three shops?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Does he do anything else other than?
He's actually a very good saxophone player.
Ooh.
Really good saxophone player. And he plays in several bands. He's been doing that a long time.
Just loves music.
Yeah. It's a great player.
Wow. So when they opened up in '79, you came in '81.
Yeah. So the first store was actually in Chatsworth.
And
then they moved out to Thousand Oaks in '81.
Wow.
And I was actually teaching at a little store on the boulevard, real small store, and I'd heard there was a new store opening up, and I called, and I actually they put me in touch with the main teacher that was teaching there, and he said, yeah, we're looking to expand a little bit, so he had me come down and then hired me to teach there.
That's too cool. And so but you quickly became the manager, so you were meeting a lot of people because, I mean, T.O., Calabasas, this whole area has so many big musicians, so many big cats. Like you would never, I'm still to this day amazed at how many of those guys live out here.
Oh, yeah.
But you got to like build relationships with people through like the peak of their careers.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah.
Like what was that ever like weird for you, like being the guy that sold them their stuff, or was it like, did you fan out super hard? I mean, how did you stay professional? What was it like? I mean, these people it's the 80s, it's the 90s, it was the peak.
Yeah. I think it was more, I took it I had to be professional with these people because they could, they didn't have to do business with us,
Yeah.
I mean, at the time, GC Hollywood was pretty big then down there, and there was a couple other stores that were big in professional stuff. But we also did a lot of advertising in the valley at the time, and had people coming up from that area,
wow.
and we actually did a lot of recording, big consoles and multi-track tape recorders at the time and stuff.
At Instrumental?
Yeah.
You guys had like a room for...
Yeah, we didn't really have a room, but we had all that stuff displayed, and I had a great system at home, and I knew how to use it. So I would sell people this stuff and then go over and set it all up for them, show them how to run it and everything,
Damn.
So
That's freaking awesome.
so that kind of helped, get
You
referrals.
can't get that service
and
anywhere
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
I'd show them how to record tracks. And
Did you ever have a moment where someone came in that you were a super hardcore fan of? And
we a producer that lives in the area brought in Roy Orbison once. The song "Pretty Woman."
Okay,
And
all right.
Van Halen redid it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right on.
And he's the guy that he was all in black and had black sunglasses all the
Okay.
time. He brought him to the store. And B.B. King, he brought him B.B. King
my
into the
God.
store. So those were some people that, Richie Sambora came in from, a lot from
Yeah.
Bon Jovi and,
I know Eddie Money shops a lot.
yeah,
there.
Eddie Money and his kids. His kids now shop there a lot. Eddie
Yeah,
used
I went to
shop
school
there.
with with Dez. He's
Yeah,
touring with
Dez.
him now.
Yeah, Dez is a good kid.
Yeah.
And, there was Danny Johnstone, Elton John's guitar player.
Yeah.
And then,
Now you got Elton John's bass player.
yeah, Motley Crue guys lived out here.
I
Nikki
went to school
Sixx,
with their
all those
kids as
guys.
well.
Coming, yeah.
Yeah.
So, all those people were definitely.
But you got to see Motley Crue through like... Were they around were they out in this area at that time?
Well, yeah. Oh, you living out here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
So you saw them in their...
Probably the late 80s is when I first met them. But I remember going to see them, probably, it must have been 76, 77.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, at the Starwood. I don't know if you remember the Starwood
Uh-uh.
in Hollywood. That was like one of the big clubs. It was the Starwood. Roxy was there.
Wow.
And there was one other. I can't remember right now. But I had never heard of them, and they were opening up for a band that's in the Bay Area called Y&T, Yesterday and Today. Dave Menichetti. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
Mm-mm.
Oh, you got to check Dave Menichetti out.
Dave McKetty.
Oh, great. One of the best blues rock players, and singer, too. Amazing singer. It's Y&T, Yesterday and Today.
Dave.
Menichetti. Yeah.
I'm sure it'll pop up on Google. I definitely didn't spell that right.
But Motley Crue was opening for them, and I had never heard of
Opening
them.
for them. Oh my God.
And they were not very good at that show.
I believe it.
And everybody was going, well, we can see why they're a Motley Crue, They were just not that good.
Little did they know they're about to be one
Yeah,
of the biggest
but
rock bands
they
to
came
ever
really
play.
big, So
And then sure enough, years later, they're buying stuff out of your shop.
yeah.
I mean, you talk about it so nonchalantly, but it'd be so surreal to like be dealing with these people. Because I mean, they're people at the end of the day, but like to be such a
Right.
fan, like these big rock stars and all this stuff, and they're just coming in and getting their gear from your, the shop
Yeah.
that you're running.
Well, I found that most of those people, they're really easy to talk to, and they're pretty down to earth. And like you said, they're just like us, really. And I think they get a lot of that from other people. The fame,
Yeah.
thing, and people always wanting stuff, and but in that environment, they could come in and pretty much be themselves and talk gear and stuff.
Still music nerds at the end of the day.
Yeah. So that's why I think.
And it still
do
totally
like-
has that vibe in there. I mean,
Yeah.
has the vibe in the store for you changed at all over the years?
I don't think the vibes changed. I mean, I think the buying patterns of people have changed, and what's in fashion and that type of thing. I mean,
Every
when Taylor's
13-year-old kid isn't coming in for a guitar anymore.
it's not like that
Yeah.
now. But I mean, think about it. Can you name any guitar hero that you've really seen come out?
Oh yeah, I mean, I had this conversation with a friend of mine the other day. Like, you're talking about guitar hero, like a real, like a hero.
Yeah,
guitar,
like
or
who's the last guitar hero?
I mean,
Guitar
John
hero.
Mayer was like this close.
Right.
He was like this close,
Mhm.
and then he just went a different direction.
Yeah.
And I mean, John Mayer came out pop,
Mhm.
and he did lots of it, and
Yeah.
he did a great. I love John Mayer. I love a lot of his albums, but like then he went country, then he went this weird sound, and it's just like you were this close to becoming like a guitar god.
Mhm.
And he joined the fucking Grateful Dead. Now, I have nothing against the Grateful Dead.
Right.
I'm not a huge Grateful Dead fan.
Uh-huh.
I don't listen to them regularly.
Yeah.
But it's like, I get it. It's a huge opportunity. It's badass. But it's almost like, did he do that because his career was falling off? And like it was a good move. How much more does John Mayer have? Like, I guess what I'm saying is I'm looking forward to seeing if he's gonna be the one, because really he's the one guy left that can, like, maybe he'll hit his 50s, his 60s,
Uh-huh.
and then he'll do something. He'll come back and do something great with the guitar.
Yeah.
Because he's so fucking talented.
Oh yeah, he's amazing.
He's an unbelievable guitar player.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know. I mean, that's the best I can think of right
Yeah.
now. Outside of, like, the guys that, like maybe Tosin and Bossy from Animals as leaders, but that's not the upfront scene.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. There just hasn't. I mean, for the girls, there was Taylor Swift, and that when that whole thing took off, I mean, we had so many more girls coming in the shop wanting to learn.
So you
guitar,
saw
and
that.
So I went through all that.
Wow.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
Just like when, I don't know if you remember when Eric Clapton did his Unplugged thing.
Mm.
When he did Tears in Heaven and all that stuff, he went out and started doing a lot of his concerts acoustically. He was kind of one of the first people to do that. And that really made acoustic guitar sales take off. And, everybody wanted to do an Unplugged thing and do acoustic and
Yeah,
stuff.
Unplugged was a big 90s thing, too.
Yeah, and that's what, that's when he was, late 80s, probably he started that, early 90s.
All the big bands were doing their Unplugged albums.
Yeah, and he kind of started that.
Some of them not doing so well with it,
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
it was the 90s.
Yeah.
Not a lot of things sounded very good, but we liked it.
Yeah, but we need, like, for that whole thing to take off, we need, like, a Eddie Van Halen or something to come along, or something
That'd be
like
nice.
that.
He lives in
Just
the area
like
too.
Hendrix did, and yeah.
Does he come in the shop at all?
No, I've never seen him come in the shop.
Really?
No.
He doesn't live too far. He lives, like, the other side of town, but
Yeah.
he's, like, probably 20 minutes from the shop.
I remember once going to the movie theater and him and Valerie Bertinelli were at the movie theater.
Really?
This was like a long time ago, but yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's still rocking away. A guy that goes to my gym does high top-notch private security,
Uh-huh.
and I guess he's done it a ton for Eddie Van Halen and his wife and whatnot. And I think, like, one of his kids takes care of their horses. Like, I'm like, what? I'm just surrounded by these people. How do I get in touch with them? I'm gonna knock on their doors.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so you got to see, like, all the waves, all the different generations, and, like, it's almost like you were be able to predict what's coming next. I mean, the DJ scene probably. Did you guys provide for that?
Did we get into that?
Electronic DJs, like everyone wanted electronic MIDI
Yeah,
stuff.
that was that we did a little of that. People were getting into turntables and all that, and we did a little of it, and then it just didn't seem right for us to.
Yeah.
We really weren't. Our hearts weren't into really doing that.
I could say, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you guys still have, like, great MIDI stuff and great electronic stuff, but
Yeah.
plus all these cats are, like, getting their stuff off Amazon now.
Oh, for that type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I have
it's-
a Kai pad.
Yeah.
I got a thing for like $60.
Yeah.
It works great.
Yeah, it's hard to. I mean, when you have an item that's just a box, it's pretty much who's got it cheapest, right?
Well, see, that's like people talk about how, like, industries will go, are going to fall, like certain parts of any business is going to fall. But I'm like, what will never fall is the acoustic guitar industry.
Right.
It can't.
Yeah.
Because you find any guitar player, beginner, intermediate, advanced, expert, whatever it is, they're going to tell you, like, I need to play the guitar.
Yeah.
I need to be with the guitar.
Yeah.
I mean, tell me you haven't experienced that moment when you walk into a room full of guitars, you pick the right one up,
Yeah.
you strum, it's like, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And you just, it's a bond from then on.
Yeah. And I mean, there are people that buy their instruments online, but I don't see you. Could you ever buy something without playing it?
You know what? I could buy, like, if I was going to, like, take my 7-string back there,
Yeah.
My 7-string back there, we ordered online. I came into the shop and ordered it online.
Right,
I mean,
right,
I was
right,
that close.
right.
But, I mean, it's like, all right, well, I want the 7-string LTD.
Yeah.
I need it for this. Put these EMGs in it. It'll sound all right. Sound the way I want it to sound. But that's an electric, active pickups. I mean, I'd still rather play it. But, like, that was just something I need this for this project or whatever. But not in a million years would I order. I mean, shit, even a Strat I'd have a hard time accepting online.
Yeah.
Like, I need to play the right Strat.
Right.
They're all made the same. I know, but I need to play the right
But
Strat.
they're not all the same.
They're
right?
not. Oh, my God. They're just so, even this factory made. I mean, Taylor, all factory made, precision,
Right.
perfect. even them, you can still put the same 2 guitars next to each other, and they're gonna be just different enough.
Yeah, for sure.
Just raw wood, man.
Yeah, no,
That shit's alive.
There's something. It's a living thing, and everyone's got its own little thing, personality,
Yeah.
and that's something we have to bond with as when we play them.
It's like falling in love.
You kind of know when you find one you like.
I mean, the one I've been playing since I was 13.
Yeah.
We bought it when I was 13.
Uh-huh.
That one, I remember walking into the room. My dad was with me. I walked into the room, the famous John's Martin room. Did you guys just get awarded like one of the top 10 in the world or something like that in the country?
Well, yeah, we're one of their top. We're one of their top dealers in the.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's incredible. I haven't seen the new room yet.
And actually, we're their top. Crazy enough, we're top dealer in California.
Dude,
Even above like the Hollywood GC store with all that population and everything. So.
Yeah, but they just got all those freaking Squires and Fenders and Gibsons. And
Yeah, they've changed a lot what they do, But I don't. Yeah, they just came in and redid the part of the room for us. Did you see it?
I saw the pictures. I haven't gone in
yeah.
yet. I almost stopped by today. I really want to see
Yeah,
it.
it's
But I
really
remember
cool.
walking into that room and like all the Martins. It's like someday I will have a room like that.
Yeah.
I will call you personally, John. I need you to fill this room with guitars.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's
Yeah.
your one job right now. Fill my room with guitars.
All right, I'm looking forward to
But
that.
I had like scanned all the guitars and I was just looking at them. Kind of like touched a few, touched a string, strummed them, didn't even pick them up. And then I saw one.
Yeah.
And I was like, that one.
Uh-huh.
And I walked over. I remember I picked it up and I played it, and that was it. That
Yeah.
was it.
Uh-huh.
It was like getting hit with a fucking truck. I mean, I love all my other guitars, even my acoustics. I felt great feelings, but nothing has ever been a bond like this in my life.
Yeah.
I picked that guitar up, and it was it. And I remember telling my dad, I was like, "This is the one."
Uh-huh.
It's like I need this guitar. And
Yeah.
he's like, looking at me, he's like, "This crazy kid, like whatever."
Yeah.
You understood.
Yeah, for sure.
But until this day, I mean, that thing has more character than shit even I do sometimes. But like, you can't replace that.
No.
And I mean, I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of the younger guitar players, no matter how much generations change, like they still understand that. That's not something you even have to teach. Like,
It's interesting. When we had the fires here,
yeah,
I had to. I don't know. Did you have to evacuate, or you probably weren't?
this close.
Yeah.
It was coming over the mountain
Yeah,
outside.
we had to evacuate where I was at, and I had to real quickly. I knew I could take a few guitars,
Yeah.
and it came down to that. I took the ones that I knew I could never ever replace. I mean, you can never really replace any of them, but there are some that
Yeah.
could, would definitely be not hard to replace, but some just you could never replace.
Yeah. I mean, there's some guitars that you like, remember those? I bought those 2 Ibanez's from you.
Mhm.
I have one with the Les Paul pickups. I kept that one. The other one I never did anything with. It was
Yeah.
just kind of sitting around. So I sold it the other day. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna miss this guitar. I can buy 100 of these. You know.
Right.
But the acoustics or like,
That's- yeah.
the custom Fender Strat I have in the back.
Yeah.
That thing is one of a kind.
Yeah.
Actually, when that happened and I saw the flames coming over the mountain, we didn't get evacuated, but we got alerts like possibility. I kid you not. I drive a Charger.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of room in that
Right.
car. I came in the studio and I packed up. At the time, I had 17 guitars.
Mm-hmm.
I packed up all 17 guitars, cases and everything.
Wow.
And I stacked them in my car, the front seat, the trunk, everything.
You got them all in there?
Every guitar.
Oh, wow.
Got in my car. I was like, all right, I'm good. And realized I haven't packed any clothes, food, water, toothbrush, nothing else. I kid you not. All I thought about was like, I got to get my guitars out.
Yeah.
And like my laptop.
Uh-huh.
I was like, and I was thinking like, what do I do about the equipment? And,
Right.
But I walked in and I was like, oh shit, I don't have anything else. Like I probably need to like get some other stuff. I'm like, but I'm not taking the guitar out, so someone else put my stuff in their car. I remember that. It was an interesting experience having to pack up all your guitars.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have to evacuate, but
Yeah. But you
Holy
could have.
shit.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's hard to explain to people that love, that bond.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's wild.
Well, it's, I mean, it's such a emotional and can be such a spiritual thing too,
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, if you don't play or do it, yeah, it's hard to explain to somebody.
Well, it's like, people that have a passion for something else, like that feeling you get is, it feels so real, so unreal all at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like, imagine being able to create that,
Yeah.
like physical sound waves. You get to, I mean, it's unreal.
Yeah.
Like, and you get to make other people feel that.
Right.
Like, you think I'm going to give this thing up?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah.
It's a brutal bond.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got weird there.
Yeah. That's okay.
I'm glad I have guitar players to talk about this with.
Yes.
It's very exciting. Anyway, instrumental music. So we talked about your weirdest customer,
Yeah.
drunk customer.
Right.
Is there a customer that like came in and bought so much it was absurd? Have you ever had like someone just come in and be like, I want it all?
At one time?
Yeah,
Or-
just like come in and be like, I want 30 guitars and 5 amps and
I don't think like at one time, but there's been times where I've had customers where they bought, maybe outfitted a whole studio and bought some guitars and amps and stuff at the same time, where it's run into quite a bit of money,
damn.
you know. So I've had several of those.
Wouldn't that be nice just to be able to like, you know what, I'll just have all this stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And sometimes those deals you have to, you know, they come in and they say, you know, this is what I'm looking at, this is what I want to get. And, you know, then you gotta, it takes time to put it all together and price it all out and do all that. So
putting together a studio is
yeah, so those type of things don't usually happen like right there the same day, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been going there for so long. I've always wanted to be able to ask you all these crazy questions. Like, what is the weirdest thing? What are the crazy things that happen in there?
Yeah.
Because I'm always hearing about like, oh, this guy walked in instrumental and he did this, and I'm like, whoa. I was there one time. I was buying picks, and some guy walked in. In the time I chose my picks and walked to the counter, he had walked in, picked out 6 guitars, and was buying them.
Mm-hmm.
And you were walking out of the back with like 3 more
More
guitars.
guitars.
I'm like, looking like, what the fuck? And I remember asking you after he left, I was like, who was that guy?
Uh-huh.
And you were like, just some guy comes in here like every month, buys 6 guitars. Like, that's a good hobby to have.
Yeah, well, there's quite a few, you know, when we talk about the artists and stuff out in this area. I mean, there's a lot of well-to-do communities in our area, you know,
Yeah.
and a lot of people that maybe played when they were younger and then gave it up, became real successful at their jobs, whatever they did, and now they have a lot of disposable income and they just enjoy buying guitars and collecting
Shit, man, I'd
guitars.
do
You
it.
know, I've got a lot of customers like that. You know.
I would do it.
Yeah.
Carlos was telling me about a guy that he helped in North Ranch who had like a Martin room with like 20-something, 26 Martins, all like custom shop though, like
Oh yeah,
Mother of Pearl.
yeah, I know who he's
You
talking
probably know,
about.
yeah,
yeah.
you know.
I sent him over there to help him with his Pro Tools when he got his Pro Tools recording session.
Is that the same guy that hired the band from The Voice?
I don't think so. No,
That was a different guy then.
I don't think that's the same guy.
But yeah, Carlos sent me a picture of his room one time, and I was like, "Does he play them?" And Carlos was like, "It doesn't look like he plays any of them." I was like, "I'm gonna burn his house down."
Yeah, he
After I
actually,
break
no,
into
he
it.
actually does play. I know he's actually.
There's no way he can't.
Yeah, no, he does.
No way.
He's retired now, so I know he's playing more and he's doing some recording and stuff too.
He set up like a legit studio in there, huh?
Yeah.
That's too cool.
Yeah, he did.
Fading out right now. Totally nerding out. Like, oh, walking in every day to 26 Martins. Can I have any more if I wanted to? Actually, you guys did a Martin event one time, and I came in, and there was a Martin. I think they said it was almost like $100,000. Like it was some like ridiculous
Oh
price.
yeah, the D100, right?
It was $100,000. It was like,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
ridiculous, and it was head to toe.
Oh yeah.
Mother of pearl.
Yeah.
I picked it up. I played it. It was the worst guitar I've ever played in my life.
Sound wise.
It was the worst piece of shit
Well-
I've ever played. I was like, what is this?
Well, think about it. I mean, you saw the back of the guitar, right?
There's no wood, there's no vibration,
right.
there's no sound.
So yeah, it's not going to sound real good.
It's like buying art.
That's an art piece. For
3D
sure.
art.
Yeah, that's an art piece.
I was
We
I was young, and I was really upset about that, I remember.
yeah. we had a customer in Santa Barbara actually buy one of those.
Really?
Yeah.
Were they like a player, or were they just...
Yeah, he was a little player. He was a collector. I know he was a very successful broker. You know.
$100,000
Yeah.
for a guitar that doesn't sound good.
Yeah.
See, that's all I can see.
Yeah.
Like, I understand the collector's item kind of thing, but
Yeah.
it doesn't even sound good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it didn't. It didn't.
Plus, I'm not one that gets guitars and doesn't play them.
Yeah.
I mean, you just played my guitars; they're beaten to shit.
Oh yeah, but
They're
they're all
beaten up.
broken in. They all are
Oh,
opened
yeah.
up. They all sound great.
They got their ass kicked.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've been kicked. You're not the only one, but you're one of very, very few music shops I've been to that I haven't been asked to leave.
That's crazy.
In Nashville, a lot.
Really.
A lot in Nashville. I think every music shop I went to in Nashville, I got asked to leave. I got warned in one, and then they kicked me out after. Well, I was like, dude, fuck you.
And you could have bought probably some of those guitars.
Yeah, I was
If you
interested in
found
one at
something,
one
you
point.
probably
At
would've
one
bought it,
point, I was
right?
interested in one of them. I was like, I think I might want this one. And I was like playing. I must have spent like 20 minutes with it.
Yeah.
Playing, and like 10 minutes in, the guy came in. He's like, make sure you don't play them too hard. And I'm like, oh, I'm not intentionally doing that. I'm just playing. He's like, just ease up on it. So I continued to play it. I really liked it.
Yeah.
And then he showed up. He's like, I think you guys are done in here. I think you need to. I was with my buddy at the time. He's like, I think you
Wow.
need to put it down. He was like trying to be nice about it, but not.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, the fuck? These are guitars.
See, I would have been like asking you what's that technique? Your technique? Why?
Yeah.
You know,
you
how
should
did you
buy
learn?
this
How did
technique,
you?
What?
Well, how did you learn to play so hard? And what, you know, I would ask you some questions, and we would
So
have
angry
you know?
all the time. And then I'd smash the guitar.
And I've been like, well, there's a couple that can really take a pounding when you play them hard, you know?
Yeah, I feel like that's a good. See, that's why you're the guitar pimp. You could find a way to sell the guitar to me.
Yeah.
Like, heck, all right, what's he gonna want?
Right.
All right, so being the guitar pimp, being the legend you are, you've been working on instrumental how many years now? It's been since '81 would be, is that almost 40 years?
Yeah, 38 years. Now, I did take some time off from 90 to 97.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
Did you leave town or did you leave?
No, I stayed in town, but I was working on some my own stuff, and then, you know, as I told you, I would set up studios that I'd sell to people, and, you know, show them how to use it. And a lot of them still just couldn't get the technique of it, so I kind of was hired out by a lot of people to actually come and record and engineer for them too. You know, so I was doing a lot of that at the time too.
So you got to record your music then?
Yeah, I got to record some of my music, and then I started recording a lot of other people's music, which left me no time to really do my music.
Yeah,
and
because
then,
you know
how that is, right?
Yeah, you record someone else's music and they need everything.
Right. So
can we fix this? Can we fix this?
Yeah.
It's like, dude.
And then all of a sudden you're like, well, I kind of started this whole thing to do my music, but now I don't have any time.
Yeah.
So I started doing some of mine. Then I enjoyed it for a while, recording other people and helping them produce and engineer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, you know, I've got to stop and do some of my stuff, or I'll never get anything recorded.
So what did you do with your stuff? What was the path you decided to take?
Well, we had a song in '90.
This was with your band Haven.
Actually, at the time, it was two of us really. It was Pam and I.
Okay.
And we had a producer that lives here in town that had worked with a lot of big people, including Fleetwood Mac and Dave Mason and a whole bunch of people. And he thought we had something that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So we worked with him a little bit, and we had a song that kind of came out that we had written with a friend. That it was during the Gulf War in '91, and it was a song about. It was called "Proud Soldiers," and it was just about, you know, bringing the soldiers home safely and stuff.
Yeah.
And this was before the internet, but we had gotten written up in the LA Times, and there were some local radio stations playing it, and so it had some good traction. And from there, somebody at Virgin Records that I knew that came in the shop had passed it on to somebody at the company, and they really liked it, but they wanted to, you know, we only have this one song, can you record some more songs? So we recorded some more songs, and it was right at the time grunge was coming out.
Okay.
So Kurt Cobain and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it was kind of, we were definitely more classic rock. So it never really took off.
So that was kind of like, you know, that beginning. Was that the beginning of you deciding like, hey, I might want to do a career in this? Or did you know from the beginning that I want to have a career in being an artist?
I think that was kind of probably the start of it.
Never really thought
about it. I mean, I had played in, you know, and since I had been in high school, I had played in bands. And I actually started writing originals pretty early on in my senior year, and we played for a few years, played the club circuit and all that in LA and everything. But I think that was kind of when I realized, hey, I really like writing and recording, and I really want to, you know, put some music out.
So the idea of like having like a big band and like touring and being like a star, was that never really crossed your mind until?
Yeah, I don't think that was ever.
It wasn't for you.
Like,
huh?
That wasn't the goal, really. You know, if it happened to, you know, if the chance came up and it was, you know, doable, then we might do something, you know.
Yeah.
But really, the main thing for me was I enjoyed being creative and writing songs and and recording them and doing that whole process. You know, that was what I enjoyed.
Which is interesting because I think I run into it more now. Because we have our own home studios and we can record. So there's like the people that love creating, love making the stuff, that hate recording and hate the production.
Right.
And there's people that can't write, that refuse to,
Yeah.
but you give them something, they'll make it gold.
Yeah.
And like everyone and their sister, has access to this. And I run into it so much, and it's really, it's very rare to run into someone that's good at both.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people claim to be both,
Mhm.
and they can do both,
Right.
but both mediocre.
Right.
And they can just wear the right outfit and
Right. Yeah.
say the right thing, and they sound cool, right?
Right. Right.
But it's very rare that you run into someone that can say like, "Hey, I love writing because I'm good at it,"
Mm-hmm.
and then sit down in the studio,
And do it.
do the studio work,
Work,
which
right.
is fucking hard.
Right. There's a lot of work.
Perform
Right.
and then edit
Right.
and then mix
Right,
and then
right.
maybe do some producing later again. I mean, so that's pretty badass, and the fact that your love lies in that process.
Mhm. Yeah.
I think that is a important thing to remember for all musicians, where your love lies. Like what
Mhm.
part of it do you actually love,
Right.
and how many parts of it do you actually love?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because a lot of people can say I love writing and I love this stuff, but I don't like to perform.
Mhm.
Okay, well then where does that put you?
Yeah.
And people think they can just get over a certain side of it, but it's like, no, you have to find out which ones you actually love and do those.
Yeah.
So if you can love that whole process, I mean, you're
Yeah.
fucking killing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do.
I think you have to be good at it too. Like
Yeah.
you have to have the knowledge.
Yeah.
You also grew up in an era where you either knew it or you didn't. There was no you kind of knew it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I don't know if you remember or ever saw the original 4-track cassette recorders.
Mm-mm.
So Tascam was the company, and you actually had 4 tracks you could record on this cassette, and it had a little mixer on it.
Oh my
And it was
god.
about this big, and at the time they were about $1,500, which was pretty
Yeah.
expensive. This was in the 70s, and that was the first thing I got to record on.
Wow.
And I would, they had these crazy, stupid sounding drum machines at the time, that were really
Did it have
bad.
mics in it, or did you plug mics into it?
No, you could plug a mic and plug your guitar
Okay,
into it,
cool.
And,
Cool.
you could overdub. And you could actually, what was cool is if you had 3 tracks recorded on it, you could bounce those 3 tracks onto the 4th track. And then you'd have those 3 tracks open again to add more
Oh,
parts.
so that's how people produce.
So that's how you learn to produce and do
Whoa!
stuff.
That's amazing. That sounds way more fun.
Yeah.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I feel like that kind of limits you to kind of discipline you. Like, all right, I have to do this part first, and then we can move on.
Well-
Now it's just overwhelming.
Yeah, and there was no editing. So if you
You do it or you don't.
screwed up, you had to record the whole track again. Or then they had a foot switch you could punch in and punch out a part.
Oh my
so
God.
You could get in and out of a part real quick. And
Wow.
but you had to play it. You couldn't
you had to
copy
punch
it
it
from
at the
somewhere.
same
You had to punch and play at
Oh,
the same
man.
time.
See, this may sound crazy, but I almost that sounds more appealing to me.
Yeah.
Not because I'm some little hipster shit that, the old school, but because I turn on my computer and the amount of stuff that's possible, it's fucking overwhelming.
Oh yeah, it's endless.
And no matter
right?
how much I try to learn on my own, there's just always more to overwhelm me. And I'm just like, I just need to record this part. How did I end up here?
Yeah.
It's so much.
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, back then you got to the music, to the recording quicker because you didn't have all those options and things
Yeah.
you could do.
And you had to figure shit out like Led Zeppelin in a hallway or the stairwell for
Yeah.
when a levee breaks.
And what was funny is when you'd bounce those 3 tracks to the 4th track, you'd have to get your levels right. And if your levels weren't right, then you'd have to go back and you'd have to just, bring one of the tracks up a little and get it to where you liked it. So it really taught you how to mix and listen
an ear,
and give you
yeah.
an ear to do that,
Now mastering, I mean, how big is mastering right now? People that can master tracks properly are making bank right now.
Yeah, and that's a whole, there's so many people that say they can master,
Oh my god.
because they've got the software to do it.
Who's the guy at the Jungle Room that masters? He's mastered all those big records. He did.
Well, at the Jungle Room, I don't.
He works through the Jungle Room. I met him through Carlos, and he works through the Jungle Room a lot.
I mean, some of the bigger guys were Bernie Grunman
Yeah.
and George Marino.
You know,
There's a handful of them that are really
it's like they
the
know.
guys.
They actually know what they're doing.
Yeah, and it's amazing to watch those guys because I've got a chance to work with, have them work on a couple of my projects, and it's amazing to watch them work.
So for the
So-
sake of kind of defining mastering,
Mhm.
because there's mixing
Mhm.
and getting your levels.
Mhm.
Mixing is its own process of getting
Mhm.
everything to balance properly.
Yeah.
And then finally tuning it as much as you can. And then when you go to master, what's that where's the threshold that mastering takes over?
You mean when do you master? Or
So at the end of it, you have to set it in to
You-
get mastered,
you
to
get
have
it
it finally
balanced,
tuned.
uh-huh.
So how much of a difference is that making? What is it that they're doing?
I I mean, I think if your project is recorded really well in the first place, and
Yeah.
your compression is used correctly and everything, the final mastering process is not going to be a huge difference. I mean, they're going to EQ things a little bit.
Yeah.
They might add a little more compression, might bring the levels up a little bit more, But really, that's it, And then making sure each track kind of is in that same EQ'd the same and everything. But I mean, if you come in with a project that wasn't recorded really well, and the mastering might sound like they do a little more to it,
Yeah.
when you hear it,
So would you say mastering is always worth it,
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
even with that little of a difference if you record it super well?
For sure, yeah.
Mm.
Because the last album we did, it was really well recorded record, and
The one I listened to recently.
yeah. But we did all the there was no compression added in the mastering to that.
Really?
Because it was all done during the recording process.
What
and
kind of
everything.
compressors?
LA2As, and all that
So you have
stuff.
your home studio. It's fucking decked out then.
I do have a home studio. It's changed a lot over the years, but
Did you guys record it there? Or
no, actually, no, I didn't record any of it at my
where'd
studio.
you guys record?
So Michael, the bass player, he lives in the Valley, and he lives in an old house there, and the garage was actually in the back of the house, but not attached to the house.
Okay.
So he converted that into a studio.
With that kind of equipment?
Yeah, I mean, he
Damn.
had some friends. He has a good friend of his used to work at Ocean Way Studios, which
Oh,
was one of the
okay.
big studios.
Mhm.
His friend was he designed studios, so he helped Michael design the studio, and so that's where we did most of the recording. I mean, we'd go to Kurt's and record the drums, and Luis's to record the
God,
percussion.
Kurt has such a great drum sound.
Oh yeah, amazing.
It's so unreal.
Yeah.
Dirty bastard.
Yeah.
Plays in. If anybody listening knows Kurt and have been to his house, those who don't, you literally walk in his front door,
And the drums are
within
sitting
like
there.
1 foot of his front door, his drums are set up in this giant hall.
Yeah.
With mics everywhere, and the cords are running like what, 30, 40 feet
Into the room,
another
right,
room
right.
where you control it. It's,
Yeah.
I mean, because you walk into the house, like that guy could have chosen anywhere to set that stuff up.
Right.
And he just walked into the front. He's like, that's what
That's
they
where
need
it'd
to be.
be. Yeah. No,
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it gets great drum sounds.
Unreal.
And 2 other drummers live in that house before him. I don't know. if you know.
Really?
Greg Bissonette
Greg Bissonette was. I would love to have Greg Bissonette so close.
and one of the Picaro brothers.
Okay,
live-
yeah.
So it's been like a drummer's house. It's weird.
Jesus. Kurt beat him to it.
Yeah.
Dirty bastard. Damn, Greg Bissonette. He's still playing with Ringo Starr, huh?
Yeah. He's still
Yeah.
playing with Ringo. He comes in the store a lot too.
Is he,
Great
he
guy.
in town a lot?
No, I mean he's not in town a lot,
He's
but
like
but
one
when
of
he does, he
He
stops
tours
in.
like crazy.
Yeah. Great guy too.
Yeah.
Real good drummer.
Well, I've worked with Matt before, and he's just like the nicest human being
his
I've
brother.
ever met.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. Good people.
how do you stand on stage in front of that many people and just like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy, huh?
it's a really cool experience. It's really something that to expect. Like, all right, we're all human,
Mhm.
but when you meet people that are so talented and
Yeah.
so successful with their talent, and
Then
basically
there's
have
just-
done it all, and they're just like so happy to be there sitting
and great
with you.
people, right? Yeah.
Like they don't care that you're not
Yeah.
Elton John,
Right. Yeah.
and they give it all. It's like humbling in a weird way.
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it, but it's really awesome.
Yeah. It's very awesome. And I grew up in a little town in the Blue Ridge Mountains in Virginia.
Really?
Never dreamed that I'd be out here, and meet all these people and
Yeah.
pretty crazy.
What a wild. You're from Virginia, huh?
Yeah, well, Pennsylvania and Virginia, we moved back and forth a lot when I was little.
How old were you when you moved out here?
I was 13,
13. Okay.
and I didn't want to come because I had a lot of friends at the
Yeah.
time.
Little did you know.
Yeah,
Little
but
did you
but
know.
I'm glad I did.
Hell yeah, we would. I mean, where would the music industry be without you? I mean, if you really trickle it down,
Yeah, well,
the amount of like heavy hitting artists, like the big cats that make music, that made music for
mhm.
years and years and years. I mean, they come into your shop, they count on you, they get their shit from you. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
where things wouldn't be the same.
Well, you think about it. I mean, what would be different about your studio, or what if you
Well, I
hadn't
wouldn't
met
have
me,
a studio.
right? So,
I don't know what the hell I'd be doing.
it's sometimes those little things
I
in
had my
life.
first guitar lesson there.
Yeah,
Damn. Everything in here has pretty much come from you. I mean,
Yeah.
that's. And it's not just instrumental music, it's you. It's like it's John Vanslo instrumental music.
hmm
Like I can bring your name up in any circle of musicians, and they know.
Really?
Oh,
Wow.
John, I know John.
Wow.
John runs into, oh, the guy with the long hair.
Yeah.
They either know you personally or they know
Know
your
who
hair.
I am, yeah.
They're like, that guy, he seems so like mellow. I'm like, he's mellow, but you get him going. He
Yeah.
knows what he's doing. You're very mafia, very music mafia. So you've been an instrumental a long time. Was it? I know it wasn't the plan to run the shop, but
Mhm.
did you ever plan to do it this long?
I don't think I ever really thought about it like that.
Just
I
kinda
think
went
it's,
for it.
yeah, and I enjoy it, and I
Nice.
enjoy doing it. So as long as I enjoy doing it, I'll do it.
That's fucking rock and roll
You know?
right there.
You know?
I mean, you're such an enigma. Someone that just really loves the place they're in, especially a musician.
Yeah.
We're never satisfied.
Yeah.
Like, we always have something to talk about, like, oh, I wish I would have done this, I wish I would have done that,
Mhm.
I wish I would have done this. But, like, very rarely you run into someone that's just like, I love what I do. I do
Well,
it because I love what I do.
Yeah, and I love helping the people,
Yeah.
see them get enjoyment and see them do what they're doing with their projects. And, I built a lot of
Yeah.
relationships over the years with people.
And you never regretted staying in instrumental music? You never thought about going to a bigger company or anything like
No,
that?
no.
Cool.
No.
Nice.
No.
Can't imagine it'd be as fun.
Yeah, no.
And you get to, realistically, since instrumental started, how many deals have you made with companies that have changed the game for you guys? Bringing Martin and Taylor rooms in there.
Yeah.
All the different guitar companies, amp companies. Mesa Boogie's in there.
Mm-hmm.
Go to any other music shop. You're not going to find Mesa Boogies like that.
Yeah,
You're going to find like the fucking, maybe the Mark V and the Dole rectifier.
yeah.
But you're not going to get any other stuff.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible the setup and the way you've basically built relationships with these companies that give you their best
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah. I think it wasn't always like that. There was a store in Simi called World Music back in the 70s that was quite a bit bigger than us.
World music.
In World Music. And they had most of the good lines. And we were struggling to carry the good brands.
Yeah.
And I can remember, people would come in and they'd say, do you carry this or do you carry that? And we'd kind of like, no. But we have this,
Yeah.
So it was definitely a struggle for a long time. There was a time where there was a company called St. Louis Music that had these guitars called Electra guitars
Yeah.
and crate amplifiers.
That was my first amp. It was
You
a
know?
little crate.
And actually, they sounded not too bad.
I recorded the distortion on that thing on some of Carlos's tracks.
Yeah.
That thing is amazing.
Yeah, they had some really.
Oh
some
my
of my
God.
first recordings on my 4-track were with a little crate amp.
Hell yeah.
And at the time, PV was huge.
I was just gonna say, PV.
And the store in Simi had PV, and they wouldn't open us up. So people were always calling us up or coming, do you guys carry PV? No, we don't carry PV. But when we got the crate stuff, we had something to at least compete with it.
Yeah.
And if I could get people to listen to it and plug it in, then a lot of times
They'd be
they'd buy it.
amazed.
And that kind of started
Yeah.
to turn the tide a little bit for us,
Crate amps, huh?
Yeah.
So what was the big guitar company that kind of was a breakthrough for
The first guitar company. Well, we were always a Gibson dealer from
Yeah.
first on. We were always a Gibson dealer, but it was years before we got Fender. And then in '87, we were the first store on the West Coast to carry Paul Reed Smith.
Wow.
1 year after he started selling to the public. He started in '86, and we were the first store in '87.
That late, huh?
Yeah.
Really?
And that really kind of put us on the map too for electric guitars,
Damn. I didn't realize I feel like it was. I'm amazed that it's only 87.
86, yeah. Carlos Santana was one of the first players to have a guitar of his. So that
he made that company for a while.
yeah, so that kind of helped us. And a few years later, we got Fender. But it wasn't really until I think it was around '90 when we first got 91, 92, where we got Martin, and that
That changes
that
everything.
changed everything.
Martin guitars.
Yeah.
The kings.
Yeah.
The top of the world.
Yeah.
It's not even an argument.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good smaller companies that make guitars similar to what they do, but
Yeah.
still, there's nothing like a Martin.
It's just
Yeah.
not like a Martin.
Yeah.
I mean, I got the headstock tattooed on my freaking forearm.
Look at that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
probably more to come. More
Yeah.
Martin stuff on my body.
Yeah.
So with the shop, with your band, with your life, your journey through music, you seem pretty present in it all,
Mm-hmm.
which I respect. But looking back on it, would you go back and would you do anything different?
I don't think so. I think everything. Yeah, you're right. I tend to try and be in the present,
Very good at it.
and I do look forward, but
Yeah.
I try not to look back very much at all.
Mm.
And everything that's happened in the past and everything obviously leads us to where we are now.
Yeah.
So I don't think I'd go back and change anything.
Okay, so what about right now? Like right now in your life, you run an instrumental. Your band just released a record. You guys just released a music video,
Mhm.
and you said you signed a distribution deal with Sony, right?
Right, correct.
So that's going to lead you to a certain place. What kind of changes are you making in your life right now to have your band be a little bit more successful in that sense, or have instrumental be more successful, or whatever it is in your, because you have some sort of like goal with everything you do.
Right.
Or you hit a point where it's like I can't just do the same thing every day.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't think I've hit that point.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I've hit that point.
So you have the time to do everything you want to do as well.
Yeah.
A dream job.
Yeah, right now it's, I mean, I'm always busy. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have much time to do anything personally or,
But you got music in your life.
but I got music in my life,
And that's the kind of the goal at the end of
and
the day.
that's the goal, and it's like, you can go out and do things, but then if you do that, that's taken away from your time to write and be creative,
Yeah.
And I'm
So
getting older,
You got to have like a ton of recorded music then.
Oh yeah.
Do you release it? I mean, or do you just do albums with your bands? Do you ever like release on Spotify like just a song?
Single. No, I mean there was a time in the past 10 years we probably did 3 or 4 songs where we did videos for and just released them as a single. But when we were started writing, I mean we almost have 4 albums worth of material probably.
Wow.
And a fair amount of it is done. The basic tracks and stuff are all done.
But the mixing.
So, but that's not all done. But we could probably put another record together, within 6 months, if we had to.
Do you ever, record on your own time, just you by yourself and your guitar?
I do. I mean, I have a little handheld recorder, digital recorder, that if I'm playing, I'll and I have some idea that I like, I'll definitely record it on there and then archive it on the computer,
So for the most part, all your writing and like, personal creative time kind of goes towards the band at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Definitely,
That's
yes,
good.
yeah.
I was going to say, I was like, someone that been playing for this long and so much and knows everything about recording and has so much of this stuff, like, I feel like you should have like 300 songs on Spotify at this point. It's like, I should be able to look up John bands though. Like, I'm listen to John today.
Yeah.
But I mean, I listened to the last album. The guitar sound was freaking awesome.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear more guitar sound like that.
That's all acoustic on that too.
Yeah, it was fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
My opinion, the greatest. I've said this before on the podcast for sure. The greatest recorded acoustic guitar in the history of music was the beginning of "Wish You Were Here" when David Gilmour comes sliding in as the greatest acoustic guitar ever recorded.
Yeah.
And I challenge everyone. I'm sure you can show me something, but I challenge everyone, send me a track that sounds better than that acoustically. Do it.
Yeah.
Find one.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know what? I mean,
no, that's definitely a great example.
I mean, just dry and crispy all at the same time.
Yeah.
It literally feels like you're sitting this close to the, you're like right here.
there, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
It pisses me off to listen to that song.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
It'd be interesting to find out the history of that. How
So
they
he
did
started, I think he did like this like mini series right now he's doing because they're auctioning off all of his guitar collection for like charity.
that. Yeah.
And he talks about each guitar. So he was playing, I saw an Instagram video of him playing that part with the guitar that he used, but they didn't talk about how they recorded it.
Yeah.
That's like a gold mine.
Yeah.
Probably some stupid shit, dude. Probably super simple. Probably just the right time of day, in the right room, at the right spot. Ugh.
Are you familiar with Bad Company at all?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know that. There was an album called Bad Company, and there's a song called Bad Company.
Okay.
And if you listen to the vocals, it has a certain sound to it. And they actually ran like 500 feet of microphone cable out into this hill, and Paul Rogers, the singer, at night sang on the moon was out and stuff, and he sang it outside, and that's how they
500 feet.
They've mic cable.
How do you
they
even
ran.
get like signal? Like how do you
You
get
know?
any sound?
So you know, back then they would do all kinds of crazy experimentation on different things. So it would be interesting to see how they
Well,
got
see,
that acoustic guitar sound. You know.
That makes me question though, because people are like, "Oh, you don't want to get too long of a cable because you might, compromise the sound quality." I'm like, this dude had 500 feet of cable.
Well, mic cable you can run long distances, and not guitar cable. That's different. You'll lose signal, but mic cable you can run a pretty
Really,
long
you can run a mic
distance.
cable that far?
Yeah, yeah. Because
I could record my acoustic guitar.
yeah, out there
out
somewhere.
there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
See, now I need more. God, don't. This is how you get me every time. And I'm like, now I need to buy mic cables from John. I'll be at the shop tomorrow.
You're always thinking about where am I gonna go?
Like, I can run it through here. God damn it.
Yeah.
So, do you have any like bucket list items for like not even bucket list, but like goals for life, like with music? Is there something that you want to achieve with your music in life, or are you just living it?
I think more living it, and for me, it's if I don't do it for very long, I tend to get a little depressed, and it's just something I need to be creative. That creative thing,
So when you say living it, living music, what does that mean? Like if you could, I mean, you don't have to define it, but kind of explain to me what's the difference between living your music and succeeding in music?
I think living it is just doing it. I mean, if you have ideas you're working on recording, you just develop those and bring them to some type of fruition where whether you're happy with it or you can play it for other people to hear it. You know, it's just that's an ongoing process.
It's almost like the willingness to just have the confidence to do that, and not worry about what other people are going to think, but just continue.
Yeah, just continue being creative, and whatever comes out, different styles or whatever, do it. Yeah, I mean, everybody's going to have an opinion, right?
Well, of course, yeah. But I mean, like, how often have you picked up a guitar and like written something or like played something and say that's not worth recording, and then you start recording it, and you're like, oh, should I continue to do this? Maybe it's not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you kind of have all these thoughts that pour in.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely things that you might have an idea for, and you think it's going to, be something, and then you get into it more, and it just never develops,
Yeah.
So you got to let those go,
So what about when you're not playing? What does it mean to be living music?
Well, I think, you're always thinking about, parts or, how are you going to, recording it or parts or layering things or how's this going to sound. You have things going on in your head, you know, and then you translate it to the actual recording process. So I think always, thinking about that or listening to music,
And that shouldn't change no matter how successful or unsuccessful you become.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I mean, it's beautifully said. It's beautiful, but I mean, we all know how difficult it is to have that.
Yeah.
You seem to do it so well.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
thanks.
I think personally, I'd run into it all the time. Just playing guitar, playing a show, writing something, or like I'll finish a show and be like, oh, you know what, that was really fun, but it wasn't this. I didn't play a bigger show. I didn't play a longer set or a shorter set or.
Yeah.
And not that I really feel that way, but those thoughts come in, and it's just kind of like road bumps all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all have thoughts like that where we think, maybe we didn't play as well as we should have or things. But I think to, the less you can get away from the judgment of it, the more you'll have the less ups and downs.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with having ups and downs, but, I think if you can be a little more steady with it, you
have to survive at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you're a more grounded, settled, happier person,
Yeah, honestly, there's nothing better than seeing a musician play, like whether they're playing a stadium or, a corner in a dive bar that is in love with what they're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, they have to be somewhat good. You have to enjoy the music, but sometimes you just see someone that just loves what they're doing. It doesn't even matter where you are, whether it's the stadium or that bar.
Right, and you can feel that, right?
It's just as powerful.
Yeah, you feel that, and it's like you want to be that, right?
It's like I want to be that, but I want to be in that moment. Like that's so much what music is. Like when I play shows, I don't know if there's ever been a show where I haven't said this, where I'm like, before I introduce a song, I talk about. I always give this speech. It's not planned. It's just something that always comes out, talking about like, you know, I'm not playing these songs because I want to show off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm playing these songs because I'm listening to it with you guys.
Uh-huh.
I want to be in this moment with you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here just as much as you are,
Uh-huh.
because I know when I'm in the audience and an artist is really giving me what they've got,
Uh-huh.
really like passionate, I feel like I'm in that moment with them.
Sure, yeah.
And that is the best place to be.
Yeah,
It is
for sure.
Oh,
Yeah, very powerful moments when that happens.
yeah, when they're just fucking feeling it, you're like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, before we go, I want to know from someone with so much experience in music and all realms of music, with musicians, with, I mean, fucking everything, man. You're like a godsend to us musicians. What advice would you give to not just young musicians, but people that are starting out, people that are starting out with music, and the people that have been doing it their whole lives and ready to give up? So both sides of the spectrum. What would you tell to each of them?
So you want to start with one of those first then? Or?
Yeah, so start with the people just starting out and the people that are ready to give up.
Mm-hmm. So the question is, what advice would I give them to keep them playing, or what would...
So if someone, you know, picked up a guitar and I said, John, I started playing guitar last week. I think I really love music. I think it's something I want to do for the rest of my life.
Right.
What advice would you give me?
Well, I would say, you know, obviously if you remember, guitar, it's not actually an easy instrument.
No.
You know?
Started when I was 5. It was not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, do you remember, for me, it was, I mean, I didn't have to think about practicing. When I got home or I got up in the morning before I went to school,
Yeah.
I just wanted to pick up that guitar.
Yep.
Even when I was first starting and I could barely play anything,
Yeah.
I just wanted to play. So I think I would tell somebody, you know, you have to feel that passion, really, that it's something you want to do to be successful at it. Obviously, you can put in a lot of time and become somewhat proficient at it.
Yeah.
But if you're not really loving it,
What's the point?
what's the point, really, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that's probably what I would say, you know.
Look for that feeling. If you don't have that feeling, maybe
yeah,
consider something else.
consider something else, yeah.
Damn.
You know.
It's like beautiful and cutthroat all at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like, do you have it? Don't feel that? Maybe you shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And, you know, I see that, too, with students at the shop all the time. And I'll talk to parents, and some of them will just say, yeah, he or she, they, you know, whenever they have a spare moment, they're picking up that instrument.
You're like, that's
and
it.
I go, they really love it, right? And they go, yeah, they do. And, you know, they're going to probably have that throughout their whole life, right?
Yeah.
You know? And so I think that's what I would say.
So to get even heavier before we go,
Mm-hmm.
the person that's going to give up,
Yeah.
the person that's been playing, I mean, however long, but let's make it dramatic. Someone that's, so okay, let's take me, for example. I started at 5, been playing for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Say I hit 35
Mm-hmm.
and I want to give up music.
Mhm.
What would you tell me?
I would ask you to try and remember the feelings you had. Try and connect with that person you were when you were really learning and so into it and everything.
Yeah.
And what's in the way? What's causing you not to feel that now, you know? Is it personal stuff that's going on in your life,
Yeah.
or is it
Maybe the lack of like success, you know, maybe wanting that, you know, bigger picture,
Yeah,
or
what-
not bigger picture, bigger fame kind of thing.
Yeah, what is it? I mean, because, you know, when we get into it, when we first learn, I mean, I didn't really have, it wasn't for the fame,
Yeah.
you know. I mean, we saw all those bands out there. that were
Yeah,
famous,
of course.
and, you know, you wanted to, but it was just the love of the
You
music.
couldn't help it.
Yeah, you just love music so much, and you wanted to learn that guitar and play that guitar like somebody that you knew.
Yeah.
You know, just to be able to play like that. That was the motivating factor, really, you know.
So find out what's in the way of feeling
What's in the way of feeling that?
Because it's not that you don't love it anymore. It's that something else is preventing you from loving it.
Because if you loved it for many, many years,
Yeah.
I mean, how can you fall out of love with the guitar and music, you know?
Yeah.
There has to be something that's...
Something, it has to be you because it's
because
not
there's-
consciously responding
Yeah,
to you, you know?
yeah. There has to be something that's causing you to
I
not
love
be in
that.
connect with
I'm going to
that.
remember that one. I'm going to remind myself that like every week. I was like, all right, Hike, is there anything in the way of why you love it? It's a good one. I'm gonna write that question down.
Yeah.
Ask myself that. Rock and roll.
Yeah.
Well, before we go, anything you want to say? Anything else?
Well, I want to thank you for having me here.
Dude, thank you. I'm so happy I had John Vanslo. Fucking John Vanslo.
I've listened to several of your podcasts you've done with other people, and you always ask great questions. And
I hope I delivered.
no, I had a great time. Yeah.
Rock and roll,
Yeah.
man. I hope you can come back on. We can dive into some more studio stuff.
Yeah, be
for the
happy
world.
to, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, love to.
Rock and roll, man. Well,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Peace.
Yeah.